Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last episode, we found out there's another witness that was there, and it was actually the reporter. So, we're gonna hopefully get out the witness testimony out of him. No trace of poison on the knife, but if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Writing many moment, Emma. I'm to show you news. I'm what people like to call a journal. What's a journal, father? Do you know? It's simply a contraction of journalists. I'm there where the news breaks. I put in pen to paper and catch these scopes so they're in the print in the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing. The nice guy of news. Oh, so it was you who took this photograph, was it? Well, what would we have here? I'm sorry? Oh, brace yourselves, people. Many Momo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play, defended by curiosity handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up, will sit above the fold at the 72-foot point in a 5-leg format in the morning edit edition. Huh? Right then, let's start with your name. Oh, it's Ryotaro Naruhodo. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose. Ryotaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see. I just borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while. By the way, my name is Taketsuchi Aochi. That's Taketsuchi Aochi. This so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court, my objections strike fear to every defense lawyer's heart. No, the readers won't buy that. What? Feels bad, man. Witness. Yes. What this court demands to know is whether or not you were responsible for taking this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Court Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah. And wouldn't be a journal if I didn't click quick when I presented with a scoop like that now, would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you've got to be fast. Fast legs with the run width and the fast hand the right way. It's no good when you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my many-memoism. Many-memoism? Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day, when you were interviewing myself and Soseki-san. Yes, right. That was me, Many Memo, again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoyu news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is, I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's words had piqued my journalistic interest. Miss Brett's words? A criminal, left to do as she pleases, just because she happens to be a British citizen? It's horse-dung. This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's ruling aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. See your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play. Well, anyway. I quickly jotted down those words and she said in my memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all here, right? Here goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A serious criminal going on some junket. The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get the woman's story so I can hammer her to the press. Do you mean to say that you did indeed and witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph. Oh yes, I saw it with my very own journal eyes, from start to finish. through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Many Memo-san. I will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly what it is, yet you witness of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. Witness testimony time. Camera never lied. The beachhead was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see through. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My swollen journal spirit burst into flames quick as a flash. I whipped out my camera ready to click. I pulled apart the rough, relieving one screens, and poked the lens through the perfect shot. Okay. Something about the autopsy report reads screens, you say? Right, you can see them clear enough in that great shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds. Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through the sun, bring some relief to the summer heat. It was a breeze for me for poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut? Oh yes, I saw the whole thing from start to finish. And you say that you took the photograph through the gap of one of your screens? Lucky for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it? Would I be seen? It was the gamble of a lifetime. Tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable of a journalist, I suppose. Run the risk one day, run a scoop the next, and many memoism in a nutshell. At last, it would appear that we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict. We need cross-examination. No. Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question. What question? Exclusive news, startling photographs, all makes it an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published? Oh, that's right. You know? That is very strange. Why wouldn't you publish it right away? What are you trying to gain from showing it to us in court? It seems clear to me that there are any circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood. Heh, more pathetic excuses. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest. Alright. Cross-examination. The camera never lies. What made you want to see what was happening inside the beach hut in the first place? Call it a journal instinct. Can you think of a better reason? I'm sorry with the mic problems. I have to keep moving. Alright. And we're better. Oh, I don't know. Perhaps because, as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman. I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting the journal as a voyeur. It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera, and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge? Nope, you got it all wrong, little student boy. Sorry? To my mind, all that was inside the hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less. Scoops know no gender, man or woman, it's all news. That's not even memoism, it's basic journalism. Only the courtroom was indiscriminate. Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on? Tell the court then, witness. What sight befell your eyes when you looked inside the hut? A sight that vindicated my journal instinct, that's what. When I pulled back the reeds, all I could see is clear as day. So we actually saw Membani-san entering the hut? Yep, and she was raging like a journal spirit. And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly? You stole it. I didn't steal that kind of thing. Talking about the poison, I suppose. The student girl walked right up to the English woman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs. The man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism. But the student rantings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time. He's really ought to work on his smiles first, though, to be honest. Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mildly angry. And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems, dear me. Which was the climactic moment that I caught on film. She pulled off the knife. What about her testimony? Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? Heh, the precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out from start to finish. I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed. Right you are. It's all here in my memo pad. Okay. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that English woman was on this stool in the back of the hut here. Yes, the accused's own testimony confirmed that. She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly is what I've noted down. It's my turn to testify now, try not to interrupt. Then the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And in a flash, plunged the knife into her adversary's back as the two passed each other. What you describe as a grim crime indeed. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what many memoism says. There's something up with this beach hut plan. By the way, many memo-san. Okay, if we look at this carefully. Could he have really saw it through that one angle? You can only have seen it through this right here. How can he see the English woman from right there? Yeah, this poses a fatal flaw. Like, if it was here, he can only have seen this side, but not this side. That was a blind spot, of course. Whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on film? Journals have to be observers, but you can't get involved. That's our raison d'etre. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Obviously not. An observer always remains, on the outside looking in. And that's something to be proud of, is it? Your Excellency, if I may. Yes, Professor? I think the witness's last expert phrase statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony. Father, what are you... I will grant the defense's request. Many memos, son. You will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement? Well, nihilism is the foundation of many memoism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless. I never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the English woman. I was only there as an observer. Alright, let me get these other two press statements first. The court is fully aware of your desire to capture the incident on film, I'm sure. Then why did you choose to post a photograph anonymously to the police? I'm afraid I don't understand a word that's coming out of your mouth. Now you're just dodging the question. I'm asking why, as a journalist, you decided to not make a story out of the incident. Thinking me as a sculptor who makes art out of the sordid private details of other people's lives. Might never discuss my own personal life on principle. I mean, that's basic many memoism. That's not something to boast about. No doubt your burning desire to see the truth exposed and justice done was motivated you. That's it, that's brilliant. My burning desire to see something that's or other exposed. There has to be a good reason why he didn't think to write an article about what he saw, though. By your own admission, you were outside the hut. How then did you manage to take the photograph? Ah, yes, Dad, I'm glad you asked. But the two women inside didn't notice? Heh, obviously not. If they had, where I'd be right now? In jail, that's where. Which you think would make you reflect on what you were doing. No, a journal's job is to collect little snippets of life as unobtrusively as possible. Leave nothing but footprints. Take nothing but photos. Yes, that's spot on. Did you just make that up? The point is, the witness risked life and limb obtaining this photograph. And this photograph reveals the whole truth. There's nothing more to be said. I never once set foot in the hut, or okay, it was only there as observer. Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all? Are you quite sure about that? Are you sure about that? I think you may have had the wrong impression of me. We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves were stretched to the breaking point already. Oh, I see. You were scared? Maybe they have the wrong impression of you, yes? It was all. I could do to stifle a scream and hold my hands steady enough to snap the shot. You really should have summoned your help before thinking of your camera. Many memoirism and humanism don't always agree. And most of the time in those instances, many memoirism comes out on top. Huh. As a sculptor of stories, sometimes had to be cruel for my art. Yes, that's spot on. Surely he's making all this up again. He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating. But it does seem as though he's holding something back, doesn't it? If that's how you feel, I suggest you trust your instincts and press him on everything he's said. As you've no doubt seen done many times before your role as judicial assistant. Yes, I have. I've seen witnesses like this pressed often. I often know what to do. Which, is it the new statement? But which evidence would it be? I'm trying to think right now. Which is it? he took the photograph, and the murder weapon. Then we got the floor plans. Yeah, this is your vision range right here. You will only see here. There's something that's been bothering me, of course. I think we can all agree that this is not Ray Membani. Is this Many Memo's pen? Because what is his first name? I don't know. We'll figure that out. Yeah, we'll figure that out. But I guess it has something to do with this, I think. Is that your pen? Many Memo-san, until now I had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. You are spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem to show you news on my arm. In a way, that's more Many Memoism. Yes, sadly though. It seems that the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth. What is it? What are you suggesting about those recriminatory words, counsel? Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? This pen was found at the scene of the misread. Is that your pen? Pretty sure that's his. Oh! It is his pen, I think. It probably is. This pen was found at the scene of the misread's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. What are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, counsel. Initials of the accused Ray Membami. Is it a coincidence, I wonder? That your initials are also R and M? No! Write in Many Memo RM. That's horse dung! Can't you see one of those central tenets of Many Memos is being a pencil user? And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see on your right hand, pen marks. Also, very obvious blue ink stain. It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horsey horse dung! Many Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in the beach hut? Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly. Show You News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials R and M as there are the stars in the night sky. The defense is neither the time or an inclination to count every single star in the sky. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves that whose owner really is. In that case, counsel, the defense will now show the court where this alleged clue lies. Of course, Your Excellency. Clue in this found print clearly reveals the owner's identity. Oh, is this where this comes into play? As well as the initials, there's also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will of course recognize, Many Memo-san. Oh, he has it on his wristband. Goodness me, it's the emblem of the Show You News. Well, he is very suspicious. In other words, the owner of this pen... Oh, my bad. I keep bumping the mic, I don't know why. Is an employer... Oh, yep, Show You News, whose initials are R and M. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem to be numerous, don't they? Well, Many Memo-san, how do you respond? Yeah. No! Order! Explain yourself, witness. I'm waiting for him to get mad. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets. I've used nothing but honest tactics. Alright then. Fine, I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, as show you news reporter on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman. An interview? You never mentioned this before. Oh, great, we're gonna have another testimony. When exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed up in her face in the hut. I couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing. As we many memoists say, the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news. However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the premise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it. Yes, alright, but under one condition. Condition? In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Soseki Natsume-san. Soseki-san? Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. Embrace yourselves. Because it's not a harmless one, it's big. What? He's gonna sell him out, is he? Memoism states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story. Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand. Soseki-san, hiding something? God dang it, Soseki-san. I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the young woman being stabbed, with other witnesses coming along. The detective realized the victim still had a purse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why many memoism demands I reveal it now. Okay. You mean to say that the victim recognized consciousness? And when she did, he decided to ask her a question? That's true, yes. He did, and that's not all. The woman gave him a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused. This is preposterous. Why am I the only one hearing about this? Why didn't you mention this before, you Yoko hack? It wasn't even a conversation! Yes, I did pose the order in English Rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious even. Counsel for defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination be conducted here. This court will know the truth. Absolutely, Your Excellency. The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow? What on earth could have happened in that hut? The witness's secrets. We gotta keep pressing. You asked for an interview, you say? Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident before she was involved at the end of last year. About the case in which Dr. John H. Wilson lost his life. That's not the way I phrase it. Many memoism calls for straight talking. Why did you murder Dr. Wilson is how I put it to her. Yes, that sort of talking is as straight as a ruler. Ask every question as you ever ask me for a menu in the restaurant. I say it's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. And how did Miss Brett answer? With one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Phew, well that told me, so I waltzed right out of there. Really? Something about that doesn't seem quite fit altogether. Leave everyone as you're watching in a dance hall, I say it's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. That was very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brett had just turned you away. Persistence wins the prize. Any memoist will tell you that. Not to think you've left, then they lower the guard, that's when you swoop in for the scoop. And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photograph. Though I'm sure the young Yoko student would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence. Actually, it's thanks to that photograph that we managed to identify this witness. And now that you found me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I got nothing to hide. Oh, fucking... That's full of shit, nothing to hide. I'm sure. Please, though, go ahead, witness. This court is eager to hear what you have to say. Try to stop me. This is a story to be told here. I'm going to tell it. Detective realized that the victim... Okay. And Saseki-san remained behind the hut? That's right, yep. Our author friend here was a blabbering wreck shaking over from his head to his toes, mustache switching, eyes bulging. What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying trouble that taunted me whilst traveling abroad, back behind baleful bars. They'll be coming for me, surely. That's all I could think. As far as there, I was gasping for air, drowning in a sea of cold sweat. Poor Saseki-san, his experiences in London have scarred him deeply. As the world seemed closing around me, I quietly recited a prayer in the Amida Buddha. Eternal emptiness, empty eternity. The end is coming for me, I'm surely. No such as are sound in my courtroom, please. And now we came to the crucial part. That's when it happened. What is this question? What question? What exactly did he say? Well, now you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Riderman? Hug! Out with it, you Yoko hack. What did he say to her? What did it say to the dying Englishwoman? Well, in truth, I be catching crabs at the water's edge and the building castles and in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside's a perfect place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then all of a sudden, in that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air. Ray. I ran up to the beach to see what was happening. To find the defendant leaned over to the collapsed victim. Soon Inspector Hosonaga saw Miss Brett on the ground. She sprinted off to get help. And then he, just a moment later, heard a faint moan. A moan from the dead English... What? I nearly jumped out of my skin! What did you ask her, Saseki-san? I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protect this any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't. She said nothing in response. But... What? Come on! When understand you will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand you amend your testimony. I will! I asked her who did this to you, but she never replied. So you try to find out who the culprit was? He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remain
Haynes a fool forever, and having been labeled as a criminal twice during my crime of Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain on the fool in the prison forever.
However, you indicated that the victim failed to respond, is that correct?
I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stupid mustache because I'm Japanese.
Racist. Oh dear, Saseki-san has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems. Having read the report on this time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. But the English woman didn't ignore you at all, did she, Mr. Writer Man?
Well, yes, alright. She did respond in a matter of speaking, I suppose. She just lifted a trembling finger pointing in the direction of the defendant.
Really? Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant? Seki-san, is that really true?
It's not easy to stand but say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was brought on the floor before us, with the student girl standing far aside of her. One asked, who did this to you? The Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of strength, pointing out a trembling finger at the back of the hut.
No way. The way she died was on that
oh my god. Which was kept behind the direction of the student girl who stands accused today.
No.
So Seki-san, why didn't you, or did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony? But fiddlesticks, I say. This is not a British court of law, you respond in Japanese. Of course, the Englishwoman did point her finger towards the back of the hut, but I was trembling, as she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And think about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction where the student girl was standing. Somewhere in the back of the hut, nobody was standing at all.
You mean that your memory of events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear?
Yes, that's it, unclear, and I'm very unclear.
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and perhaps her finger wavered slightly. There can be no doubt this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because as the court can see, there was no other accused in that direction where the victim was pointing. It is abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could have possibly committed this crime.
I am inclined to agree. But in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial.
No! The writing headline's writing itself. Hold up a second. There's a hole right here. Can you go through that hole there? Dashing lawyers hope dash. 92 points across the whole page. We have an extra dip. We'll do an extra.
This is a serious blow, Susato. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over.
But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet.
Impossible though the task may seem. We have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need.
Ray gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defense antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brett was killed. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut listening to... Was she stabbed through the hut? Between the hut? Listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got up to her feet. Oh! Maybe she got stabbed and she got up to her feet. That would make a lot of sense. For collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back.
How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty but for herself and Ray because the criminal was behind the hut? So amid all that information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question. I take it then that the defense has nothing further to add. So, the gallant Yoko student's luck finally run out? I can't say I'm surprised. In that case, I'm ready to deliver my final verdict on the matter. This is a very crucial turning point now. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did she stab the victim? I know how. Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being. Oh, to what end, counsel? The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture. An alternative theory? Ha! None exists. Not with the correct positioning. There is someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime. What? And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time by mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction. This is fiction, fantasy. Very well, as you seem to be sure of yourself, counsel. I'm prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryotaro Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. You will present your latest theory onto the court by means of this plan. The moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the culprit was concealed? Right here. Naruhodo-san will never give up. I'm a Naruhodo now. But the true culprit who fatally stabbed Miss Brett was concealed in this location here. Are you mad, counsel? You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut. What? Yeah. The knife would obviously go through the hut. Order! But the student lawyer Naruhodo Esquire, that makes no sense at all. You've just pointed at that exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap. If I'd see any suspicious individuals loitering about, I could swear to that. Obviously, if the culprit had been outside the hut, there's no way she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut. Actually, Prosecutor Alchi, there is a way. And in point of the fact, defense can prove evidence strongly that's suggesting that precisely the way Miss Brett was killed. The picture. You're bluffing. You're bluffing, you Yoko. The defense's assertion is too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You would need to give us more guidance, counsel. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut? This. The original photographs print of the crime scene? Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. A trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from the outside the beach hut. Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of such a thing. I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone, at least, appears to have noticed it. What is that I'm referring to? Counsel, once again. I must call you to be explicit for the court. Where on this photograph is the trace of the stabbing where you claim took place from outside the hut. Right there. Look closely just here. On the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade being forced through the reeds. No, I can't. I can't see such anything. I can't see. It's true that the hut in question had 4 walls that you expect, however. But by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them. This is extraordinary. Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. Oh. And of everyone present at the scene, there's only one person who could have done that. Only one person was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Right in memo, son. It can only have been you. No! This professor's idea leaves me almost speechless. Oh my god, stop at the telephone! Look at the photograph again. The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume that this is part of a farcical scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower? No, of course not. We're not? You recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she sat on the stool in the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as she knew she was untouchable. A stool? Having another look at the photograph. The slit on the read screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting in that stool. My word! So, in fact, the victim was killed while sitting on that stool, and by a stab wound to her back delivered through the read screen. Ah! Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose up to her feet instinctively, but then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut before the defendant, Membami-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. By your silence, Memo-san, I take it you don't deny the charge? This is absurd! That will do. It would appear that we have taxed admission of guilt from the witness. Uh-oh. I don't think the witness has gone crazy yet. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter. Which means the defendant Membami-san is innocent of the crime. Oh, thank goodness. I finally made him cave. I must say, I've never been more proud. No, this can't be. This Algae clan can't. One of my growth of hope. You have no hope. It wasn't all an apparition. I can't accept this. I won't. I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. I will therefore move to the conclude of proceedings by doing my final verdict and hold. What? Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in the mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals? But we established that the victim was stabbed from the outside the hut through the read screen walls. And no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It is perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the English woman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now. What? Irrelevant? Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed? It doesn't matter. I mean, where she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up. What? Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. Of course she's gonna bring up the poison. I thought it had no place in the trial because the knife had no poison. The poison? Let's ask the professor for comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that a deadly poison where your defendant was stolen from your laboratory, correct? It's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett, is that right? That is correct. An unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are sure of a sign that this particular poison was used.
I see. So presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed? Fuck! He's gonna use that excuse.
Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could have not circulated her blood.
Fuck! So poison was used? God dang it, but the knife had no poison. Where could she have been poisoned? Heh. How refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Precisely, it matters not what a jot is stabbed in whom's back with whose blade. Where was the poison even stabbed? But simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by that poison. Don't tell me it's in the pen. But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already... There is no poison. Forgotten already, have we, Yoko? During these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever. When did she get the poison? So let me get this down. The facts as skillfully established by defense in this trial turn out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right? Well...
Order! But where does this leave us? However, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? There is an undeniable obvious answer to that. The lady most unlikely imbibed it.
What? She took her own... What? You mean she drank it? But why?
Have another look at the photograph here, as you can see. A bottle of carbonated water in the glass had been knocked onto the sandy floor of the beach hut. The poison could have been slipped into either.
So somebody made Miss Brett drink it. Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. Those will make for a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all if that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already. Established? What are you talking about? Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given the person who established it was you. Me? What on earth does he mean? Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. These is the prime fresh fodder, this is.
It would seem that this trial is not destined to end after all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony.
That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of the magnificent beard, Your Excellency.
You claim to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim, which means that according to your testimony, on the basis upon which you make such a claim.
I'm a journal and I'm a man. I've never tried to run or hide anything in my life. I'm not but starting out. That's because that's many memoism. For a brief moment, I thought I illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us? Alright. Witness testimony. Complete innocence. Alright, we're gonna end off this episode on a cliffhanger. So next time on Ace Attorney Chronicles, we're gonna continue on with this trial, and hopefully we can end this trial. See you guys all next time.